Welcome to another edition of Let's Talk. I'm your host, Andrew James, and today I'm pleased to have with us in studio Miss Amanza Walton, attorney at law and member of parliament, the National Assembly Guyana.
Hi, Andrew. Good morning. Thank you for having me. It's wonderful to be here with you this morning.
Thank you. I've been keeping fine, and I've been, doing the usual running about here and there. If you don't mind telling us a little bit about yourself and your experience as it relates to your time at Mackenzie High School.
Okay, well, my name is Amanza, of course, and I am a Walton of the Linden Waltons. Actually, I moved to Linden in 1991, and I joined Mackenzie High School in 1991. I believe it was in the second term, because actually my father moved our family from the Quarantine to Linden in 1991 when he took up the post of town clerk at the Linden Mayor and City Council. And so I joined One Emerald. It might have been in the second term of the 1991 school year, if I recall correctly. Yes, and I think those were the formative years of my life, actually. As a teenager growing up in Linden, I think Mackenzie High School has played a major role. I think Linden has played a major role in who I am today as a person. Of course, lifelong friendships. I mean, all of my very close friends now are people that I went to Mackenzie High School with. And so I was there from 91 to 95. And then thereafter, I did a stint at President's College for 2 years for advanced level.
Very good.
But Andrew, tell me, you were not in high school in 91. I don't recall you being in our batch. So help me. When did you join and how?
I started in 93. I think 98. And I knew of you, but I wouldn't say we were buddies because we weren't in the same class. But I think it's fair to say that we both grew up in Retrieve.
Right? Yes, yes. You are a Retrieve face, yes.
Right. and I knew of your mom because your mom was head teacher at Regma Primary.
Yes.
And then you guys used to live, I think, in Banya Valley or one of those valleys close.
Banya Valley, yes, Banya Valley Street. The last house in Banya Valley Street.
Right, and we used to live in Moore Valley, which is, I think, just south of that, close to GT&T. And the funny thing about this is that I remember we had a farm that was backing your house or your property there, right?
Yes, with a lot of coconut trees and so on in it.
We had some coconut trees, and I remember in your yard there was a famous grapefruit tree.
Yeah.
And I always remember your mom calling Amanza and Melissa, you guys were either disgusting or something, because I remember your mom used to be fighting with you guys all the time, and that's how I got to know about you.
Well, let me say this, to be honest, my mom had 6 children, and it appears as though it seems to be a tradition or a custom of sorts. So before you call the one that you really want, you call everybody name.
Yeah.
Was Amanza, Melissa, like, so, if you didn't know us, you might get the impression that we were disgusting kids, but it was my mom had to go through the rank to identify which one of us she really wanted to call. But it's interesting that you would say that, because it was probably 2 years ago that I was in Atlanta, and I was at they usually have a Guyana Day event, and so um, a childhood friend of mine that migrated probably over 20 years ago, 20, 25 years ago, heard somebody calling me, and he spun around. He said, I only know one Amanza. So, and of course, because we were all grown, I mean, we would have seen each other when we were last maybe about 10 or so.
Right.
So I said, where you know me from? He says, I am from North Bramveld. I said, it had to be of a particular street because I know we would spend summer holidays at my aunt.
Right.
And I said, I remember you. He said, yes, because your mother used to be Amanza, Oza, Maliza. But she used to call in Amanza most. So that name stuck with me. So when I heard somebody say Amanza, I had to make sure, because I only know one Amanza. So yes, my mother screaming for us has become a bit of a legend around. Yes. But I can place it now. Yes, I remember the farm behind us, directly behind our fence.
Right. How did Mackenzie High School prepare you for the real life of work? I know it goes without saying you are a politician and a very prominent attorney in Guyana. How did Mackenzie High School prepare you for the real life of work? And if you don't mind telling us a little bit about what you do.
Okay, so by profession, I'm an attorney at law. I specialize. It's funny, but I am not fond of litigation. So I've been practicing maybe for about 17 years now, and so I have spent all of my professional life basically working in government. So my specialization is regulatory. I specialized in maritime and aviation and legislative drafting, and so highly regulatory. I prefer not to have to go up the court step.
Right.
So but I'll tell you that, you know, at Mackenzie High School, I was a part of the debating team. I remember myself, it might have been Robert Nicholas, and I think Elton Negrella. We were all on the debating team for a number of years, and won a few titles as well. And so I think that aspect of my interaction with Mackenzie, I really did prepare me for my life as an attorney. I think as well, Linden, whilst a lot of people may not recognize it, is a multi-ethnic society. I mean, my very best friend growing up in high school was a girl by the name of Homeshwari Ramphal from Karakara, Rainbow City. And we were very close friends. Me, herself, Dion McCammon, and Tamika Green. We were the two. Jose Damrod and so on. So and then we had Jimmy Reese. And so it was really a melting pot of friendship. Omish unfortunately passed when we were about 16. And you know, but it really instilled in me tolerance. That and growing up on the quarantine, because I moved from the quarantine when I was about 10. That and growing up on the quarantine in a mixed village, really has molded me into the person that I am. So I have no patience for racism. I have no patience for intolerance, because very early we were taught about inclusivity. We had genuine, I believe, friendships with people from all walks of life. And then of course, there's a certain determination about Linden and about the people of Linden. There's a certain indomitability of spirit, I think. I mean, Linden has gone through the why, but we've always been resilient. And so I think those were some of the key things that I learned whilst going to Mackenzie High School. I'll tell you that I hated math, and you know, I I often recall it was Mr. Prasad, Lance Prasad, that was my
Yes.
nobody trained me. Yeah. So I think that too sort of ushered me into, you know, man, you're an arts person. You stick with the law and you stick with arts. So I was in 348 sorry 4858. So I was in the arts stream.
I would say most people that are not good with math is usually exceptionally, they do exceptionally well with English and vice versa, right? It's
Probably true. I might be a testament to that, I hope.
3 weeks ago, I had a good friend and a colleague of mine, famous and well renowned TV personality Gordon Mosley on the show, and I gave him an opportunity to ask me a question. And I think a lot of folks are saying it's not fair that I'm always um, asking a question. So I'll give you an opportunity, just as a courtesy to you.
So I get to
Yeah.
ask a question.
Well, I know you're a lawyer, so I want to be very, very careful. But I'll give you a shot. I think just in fairness to everyone.
Well, let me see. But look, I'm just interested in getting your thoughts on what's happening in Guyana right now. We've a very dark time. You know.
So I'm sure you're aware this is not this is just a school show. It's just a Let's Talk show. First of all, I think from my perspective, from my angle, um, I think I should say that I personally don't live in Guyana. Guyana is close to my heart, and it always will be. That's where I was born, and that's where I spend most of my childhood years. The majority of my time is spent in Guyana. I appreciate your question. First of all, I would like to say my heartfelt sympathy goes out to all the family involved, not just for the two Henry Boys brothers, but I think just across the board. It being that earlier you said in Linden we don't have this sort of problem. Linden is I grew up knowing that my mom is Indian and my dad is black. That's why I have this little convection. I we were taught about tolerance and being accepting of everyone, being inclusive. Diversity is the strength of every community, and it's important that we embrace and celebrate every diverse person, it being in spite of their race, age, religion, sexual orientation, and this and that. So my position in it is I can't comprehend. It's something that I haven't really talked about in our show. But I remember growing up, I think every young boy in Guyana at some point in their school age years have taken fruits without permission of it being the homeowner or if it's the tree on the highway or the government or whatever. I know this is an extremely sensitive topic, but what I can say is this: it's a part of growing up, right? I don't know the details. I don't know exactly what happened, but as it relates to myself and your family, I think early on we spoke about the fact that we had some coconut trees in our farm, right? Mm. And you guys had a famous grapefruit tree in your backyard. I call it the famous grapefruit tree.
It was a huge, huge grapefruit tree.
Yeah, because one time, I remember when I was younger, your mom used to buy coconuts from us. I mean, sure, you guys could have jumped the fence and take it, but I think your mom knew better, and I think that's what she has exemplified as a head teacher and as a good role model in Linden. So she used to buy coconuts from us, and the irony of it was that I used to actually take grapefruits from you guys without asking, and by no means or am I endorsing or supporting bad behavior by saying this? But as a young boy, I think your mom knew better. So one day she caught us in the yard, and her concern, she didn't condemn us for coming in. She said to me, I am really concerned about you guys jumping the fence. What if when you jump the fence, you break your leg or you get injured? I think that's where she was more concerned.
Yeah.
You know, that was her concern. She knew she had a lot of grapefruits, and she was in the position to share it with us. And her position was, why don't you guys just come around and ask and come in the yard and take it instead of trying to do it sneakily behind my back, right? So then there was this Mr. Siraj incident. And remember the back road where people used to go fishing?
Yes.
So there was a famous guy by the name of Mr. Siraj. He used to plant there. And I remember one time Siraj poisoned the water in the back road where we used to go fishing. And it killed all the fishes. I don't know what it was that he used, but I remember that incident very, very clear, very, very clearly. And as a young child, I went up to Mr. Siraj because we used to go there and buy stuff from him. And I said, sir, I'm not here to buy anything, but I just want to ask you, why is it that you poison the water? I mean, I was always inquisitive like that since I was a little kid. I always wanted to know. I was like, why would you do something like that? And he said to me, he said, man, you know, I feel sorry about doing it, but I did it because I'm concerned about the guys coming fishing and then seeing my produce and potentially coming and stealing my stuff. So that kind of had me scratching my head. You know, I had hair in my head at that time, and I scratched my head a little bit, and I couldn't really comprehend it. But again, I remain hopeful that the police and those that are involved in authority can investigate it properly and get to the bottom of it. It will be unfair for me to comment on it because, like I said, I don't live in Guyana, but it actually affected me in many ways, and it's a very sad time, and I think we should all exemplify restraint and tolerance, and just remember that we're all God's children. We all have the same blood, and you know, and my only suggestion or recommendation would be to exemplify the rules of your mom. If you know better, you do better, and you
it's amazing that you would actually say that if you know better, you do better. That is something that is a mantra that my mom lived by, and that she really instilled in us. That and whatever is worth doing well. And so that's the kind of mom that I had, and that is the kind of home that I grew up in. And so this is why it's very difficult for me to relate to certain behavior, because you know it wasn't taught in our home. It wasn't something that was taught in our home. And so you know, I remember the grapefruit tree, and you know, it was very nice.
Famous grapefruit tree, that is.
I remember there was Miss Khan that had the farm next door to us.
Yeah.
Yes. It was good. And I think there was Mr. Scipio on the other end. For some reason, that whole, after our house, there was just farmland until you got to the back road.
Right. You know, I think we should be supporting our young people. And when I say this, I'll give you a very good example of what I mean. When I was young, in my young age, I was very disgusting guy. I didn't care about school, and I really didn't care about academics.
That has changed, I hope.
I guess. It has changed. It has changed, and I'll tell you a story of what brought about the change. Regma Primary School, we were given the task of doing a fundraiser, and we had these little Walaba products made out of like a sculpture with trees and a donkey and somebody walking a donkey. And I remember the school was doing a fundraiser, and we were each given a couple of these sculptures or ornaments to go home and sell them to people in our catchment area, right? It'd be in Retrieve or Remote Valley or wherever. Mm-hmm. And I was disgusted, but I was shy. I wasn't good with people. So I was brave enough that I went to her neighbors, the Dublins. You remember the Dublins? Just
yes.
Auntie Yvette and Pastor.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. So I went there and I knocked on the door and I said, Auntie Yvette, they were training us as kids. My name is Andrew James and I'm from Regma Primary School. And she's looking at me like, are you okay? And we had to do this spiel, right? So I'm selling these things on behalf of the school and we're doing a fundraiser. And you know what she said to me? She said, it's okay, you know, I'll give you a donation, but you can keep one of the sculptures for yourself, and wow. You can try selling one to someone else so you can raise some additional funds. And I think that's what we need to start doing for young people. We need to start supporting them. I remember a little girl, she was selling chocolates. She said she's selling chocolates for the school, I think $2 a piece or whatever. And I was in the middle of something, but I heard a knock on the door and I went. And I just gave her $5. I said, "Here, just take this as a donation, and you know you can donate it and keep selling it." I told her the same thing that the lady Auntie Yvette told me, the Dublin lady told me. Take one and try to sell the other one. I says, take this as a donation. You can take a chocolate bar and try selling the others. And I think these are values that we need to instill in our young people. We need to stand up and fight for them and support them. And if you see them doing wrong, try to work with them and giving them better options. And that's my story. I hope I was able to answer your questions. Like I said, I really don't like answering questions.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think it really does underscore that you really do. We need the reemergence of the village man. Mm. You know, when we were growing up, we had a village that raised us. It wasn't your parents. You know, you dared not. I remember Tammy Green's mother, Miss Joseph, who was a teacher as well, isn't it?
Yes, yes. Miss Claudette Joseph.
Yes, Mr. Claudette, yes. What? You dare not misbehave on the road, walking home, and she sees you. You know, you get a thump from her. Plus, when she see Joy, you
get a second dose.
You get a second thumping. So it really does take, I think, the village to raise the child. Yeah.
We're up against time. I have another interview coming up. One last question I have for you. Oh, by the way, please accept my sympathy in the passing of your mom. I should have said that early on, but I really do mean that. She was a good teacher, and she has influenced and left a lot of positive footprints in my life, and I will forever have her in my memories and to Walter's family.
Thank you. I'll convey to my siblings.
Appreciate that. Final question. What do you think we can do as a group or as an association to influence change in the life of a current Mackenzie High School student?
Well, look, I think we're in a COVID era, and I think importantly, IT, information technology, is going to play a very significant role in how education moves forward. So I know that there are some initiatives about getting tablets, etc., for children who can't afford. So these types of interventions, I think, are very, very important. You know, you in the diaspora there, you can play a key role in doing this exact thing. So that initiative of identifying those children who might be less fortunate, who find themselves in circumstances where they may not be able to afford, a computer or a tablet in order to make full use, and particularly those who are preparing for CXC and the Form 3 national assessment. That those types of interventions would be very welcome. What I think you can do is share, whatever information you have so that we can spread the word in our circles. And of course, be able to assist, We'd be amazed at how one tablet can make a tremendous difference in the life of a student who's preparing for PXC and so on. So,
So that's a tangible, I would say. In terms of an intangible resources, what do you think we can do?
I think we could just resolve to be good people and to be good role models for our young people. Growing up, everybody has that person that they have as a reference point to say, when I want to be like, and of course they're good and bad reference points, and so I would exhort yes, I just exhort us to be good people, to be just good, well-rounded, well-grounded as well, people, so that we could be a positive example. The best thing that we could be is an example. Children literally learn what they live.
Right. Would you, last question for you. I know I've said last question before.
Yes, you
I have a bad habit of doing this. Would you be willing to work with Gordon Mosley in ensuring or realizing this project of the tablet project?
No, absolutely. Well, however I could be of assistance, I am willing. I often tell people I had a fairly comfortable childhood, but I know what it is to be without, and so however I can help to bridge whatever gaps they may be, or in terms of donating, in terms of galvanizing my circle to become involved in the initiative and to contribute. Absolutely. If you just let me know, we'll be happy to help.
Mr. Amanza Walton, I think we'll leave it there. On behalf of the admin of Mackenzie High School Alumni Association North American Chapter, I want to take this opportunity to thank you very much for sharing your time with us. And I think the takeaway is, if you know better, do better.
You know better, you do better. Absolutely, Andrew. It's a pleasure chatting with you. Clearly, we could go on for a bit, but I know we both have prior commitments, so we'll leave it. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks very much, and stay safe. God bless you, and God bless your family.
Blessings to you.
Take care.